Pickleball is taking over Atlanta because PPA is in town. So whether you're playing, watching, or getting inspired, tournament weekends do come with a different type of energy. Exciting, overwhelming, nerve-wracking, and motivating all at the same time. So we wanted to get into how to actually prepare for a big tournament. And even if you aren't playing in PPA, this applies to any other tournament you're going to play. Welcome back to the Southern Pickleball Podcast. Hello, pickleball people. My name is MaryEmily Landers, one of your hosts for today, and I am joined by Mark Spackman, who just so happens to be my dad and also the co-founder of Southern Pickleball. This week, pickleball is taking over Atlanta because PPA is in town. So whether you're playing, watching, or getting inspired, big tournament weekends do come with a different type of energy. This event can feel exciting, overwhelming, nerve-wracking, and motivating all at the same time. So we wanted to get into how to actually prepare for a big tournament. And even if you aren't playing in PPA, this also applies to any other tournament you're going to play, whether it's one of ours or another local tournament in the area. So we just want to help you feel more prepared, more confident, and ready to enjoy the experience. Mark, you're playing in PPA this weekend, right? So
I am. I'm playing this week. You know, they let us old people play during the week, so
sorry about that.
So playing Wednesday and Thursday this week.
Yeah. So what kind of goes into your prep beforehand? I mean, if you're playing this week, that means you got a couple more days kind of left to get into it. So what does that look like for you?
You know, I'm probably the better person to tell you what you should do than follow what I do because I'm, not the best at preparation. I tend to be the procrastinator, last minute, sort of thing. But I think the number one thing and that we just forget about and why I always end up at the IV place after the tournament getting an IV is you got to stay hydrated, and so and hydration, you can't catch up the day before the tournament. So the first thing is, 3 or 4 days out, you need to start getting those liquids in and staying hydrated, drinking that water and everything. So that's one of the big things.
As you say that, I'm going to remind myself to take another sip of my Diet Coke, which is not hydration, but it still is here.
Yeah. I guess MaryEmily's trying to get her a Diet Coke Lime sponsor or something, but
hey, it's really good. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it really is. I mean, that you can't catch up on that hydration and to play at your best during a tournament or whatever. And I mean, it gets hot out there. I think also just when it's a bigger event, we lose our, hydration a different way because we're sweating more, we're just more into it or whatever. So I think that's just really key, starting early. And then I think there's lots of questions around like how should I train, how much pickleball should I play, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so like, are you someone that likes to drill a lot before, like, or are you just gonna like kind of be like, hey, I'm just gonna go in and hope for the best, or are you someone that's gonna play with a partner before even?
Well, the reality is whether it's me or you going to play or whether it's Ben Johns, I mean, there's not anything if it's, a Monday before a Wednesday, there's nothing we're going to do or recreate our game in 48 hours that's going to do anything in 48 hours that's really going to make a difference. So I think, at that point, it's whatever it takes for you to feel loose. You don't want to go into a tournament being tired or overworked. So, I mean, and along with that hydration we were talking about too, it's just like starting to get good night's sleep before. I think if you can start regulating that sleep schedule, whatever sleep schedule you're going to be on that for that tournament day, to have the same several days before. But, I used to be the worst about that. It's like they show you the draws at midnight.
Yeah.
So I used to always want to see those draws so bad I'd be up until after midnight so I could see who I was playing. And then I'm having to have an 8 a.m. start, got to be at the facility at 7, so then I'm waking up at 6, so I didn't get any sleep. So, I mean, that's one thing that I've started realizing. It's like, hey, I don't have to see that draw yet. I can wait. Just go ahead and get a good night's sleep. So, I mean, as far as drilling during the week, sure, if you're a player that likes to drill a lot, drill. If you're a player that likes playing games, play a couple of games. Just don't overdo it. But there's not anything that you're going to do in that 2 days prior to the tournament that's going to change your outcome. You're not all of a sudden going to create a new two-handed backhand or a different serve. I mean, you have what you have at this point.
Yeah, I think that's something to think about too, just like in the tournament process overall. I know a lot of people that I play with, and granted, it's a different skill level, right? But it's taking in like the approach to tournament is like, oh, this is going to be like my like where I'm going to improve or where I'm really going to engage myself. Whereas like you don't put in as much effort into the training process that leads up to it, or kind of like the getting in the reps and the routines. So I do think that that is something to really think about, where it's like once you're actually at that tournament, like just play and like enjoy it, have the fun competition, but realize that like that's not where you really need to be putting in the work. Like the work is going to come every other day when you're just there, not maybe the week leading up to it or even that day before or that morning of.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. I mean, I think the one other thing I will say is, like, as far as your shots, you're not going to create some new super power, in the last 2 days or whatever. But if it is a tournament that you haven't played with your partner before or whatever, or maybe, you're sort of on the blind date or something, if there's a way to sneak in a couple of games a night before or something, that's great because, there is just a sort of a natural feeling out process with the partner or whatever. So if you can do that and get in a couple of games. But the flip side, like, I'm playing Wednesday in the PPA, seniors or 50 plus or whatever, with a partner that I've played for a long time. We played a lot. So for us, getting one more game in Tuesday night before we play Wednesday,
it's not really going to make much of a difference.
Is like me trying to get in one more serve practice session, or whatever. So
are you someone that feels like that helps you though? Like do you like being able to get in the reps before? Like are you going to be like a warm-up guy the morning of, or are you just like I'm going to hop on the courts and go for it?
Well, I know all my friends are probably listening to this, so I can't lie on the podcast. So
I saw you play over the weekend, and I do know the answer. But hey,
yeah,
let's let the people answer too.
I'm the let me hit 3 balls and let's go sort of guy. I don't really want the long warm ups, but I think the warm up's important. That would be one of my big tips during the tournament too. Is that games are just decided by 1 or 2 points, and I see so many people, when they're playing their matches after they've played 3 or 4 games, they go out in the court and they don't hit a warm-up, and they just think, hey, I'm just ready to go. It's because they've been waiting a long time for the match or whatever, or maybe they've been playing a lot and they want to play, but they get out to the court and they don't take a few warm-ups. Then they blow those first couple of points because they didn't warm up, but that's what decided that match. And if they just, so every game you play, use your warm-up time, to sort of get loose again. Even if you don't feel you need it, just because the body's not ready just to walk out in the court and start going straight into action.
Yeah, I definitely have noticed in my own games, like when I play, whether it be like on a league night even or anything like that, I do really like getting in at least like one game beforehand that's not tied into the tournament, just so I can get the pacing of the play and like see how I'm really feeling like with like the shots itself. And I know that that's a little bit different. I know I'm not going to necessarily have time right before a game to do that, but that's where I guess like making sure that I'm early at a tournament comes into play too, so that way I can have that additional warm-up time.
Right, and also depends on who you're warming up with or whatever. You may not want to play that game with some people you're about to compete in the bracket with, or.
Oh yeah, no, it's always about finding the people that I can play with and do that warm-up game with for sure. So, I mean, I know you said that you're playing with someone that you play with pretty regularly, but what conversations do you feel like you should be having with your doubles tournament or doubles partner before that tournament? I mean, you guys have played so many tournaments together. You're probably not really having many conversations aside from, hey, I'll see you there. Who's bringing the cooler? But
well, it's different. I mean, so people I play with regularly. Yeah, we sort of talk about it there. I mean, I played with a different partner this week, and I got a text during the week that was like, have you given any thought to what the strategy is going to be this weekend and whatever? And I was like, I have no idea. But I think more it's about communication prior to the thing. So, and this is just a tip I'll tell you all, that be on time, because if you are late to the tournament, you not only affected yourself not being ready, but your partner, because now you've hurt your partner because your partner was stressing out about whether you're going to be there. So that would be one big tip is, y'all set a time with your partner you're going to be there, and then hold to it, because if you're late, you've messed up the day for both you and your partner. Your partner plays like crap, it's your fault because they were stressed out wondering if you're even going to get there. So I would say, the one big thing is be on time with it. But then I think it just comes down, MaryEmily, to like once you're there and you're playing, the communication with your partner during the thing, all that. And I just don't think you can really over communicate. So like, it's simple. We talk a lot about like who's going to take the balls down the middle and all that, and that's good questions to do that. Sometimes that changes based on who's hot or not. But the other thing, like, I like to ask, if I'm playing with you, would be like, hey, when I'm hitting the return, who do you feel more comfortable with the third coming from? So that way, I mean, which one are you seeing the ball better from one side or the other? Are you, do you have one player that you're just more comfortable with? And so then that way I can tailor, like, hey, who would you like this ball to come back from? Because sometimes my partner will be like, hey, that player just kind of scares me, or they're hitting with a spin or a power that's uncomfortable for me. So I like to ask my partner, hey, where would you like that? So I can start dialing that in for them and help.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's also something that you can't really, that's a game-by-game basis for what you're talking about versus it necessarily being an overall tournament strategy, though, because you're looking then at the players themselves, right?
Oh, yeah. It'd be like, okay, so I'm returning. So who would you like, to hit the third, that you're more comfortable, with coming back? And, sometimes are you more comfortable with the ball coming cross-court at you, or do you want it straight ahead? And that's difference because sometimes somebody, the shortest distance is all, between the 2 points, they're straight ahead. So sometimes if you got a person that's got a lot of power that's right in front, it may make your partner uncomfortable if it's coming, where if you can hit that same person when they're cross court, they can have more time. So those are, you can really dive into that deep and go, hey, is it okay if I hit the return of that person, or is it just okay if I hit the return of that person when they're on a specific side?
Yeah.
The other thing I really think you need to talk to your partner about too is we a lot of times falter into the thing that we always want to return to who we perceive as the weakest player. And so we get into that we're doing that. But as long as that weakest player is good enough to get the ball back over the net, now we're inviting the good player to come forward. So a lot of times a good strategy when you get into that is to return to the stronger player. And that way you're keeping the stronger player back in the court. And
so then your fifth can go back to that weaker player potentially at the front.
Right. But, that's where you also have to communicate, because you and I may be playing and we think it's easy. We're playing the same strategy, but maybe we haven't even agreed on who's the stronger or the weaker player if we haven't talked about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that communication is always so important. I know the last tournament I played in, I was with a blind partner. For
that
one
was
of the
hard.
days.
You were with a blind partner?
Well, a blind date partner.
Oh.
Okay, leave me alone.
I was like,
we decided actually to just.
That probably required a lot of communication.
That was over communication. I did a blind date with a partner, not a blind partner. He could see,
okay.
And he was very good at playing pickleball. But we also definitely, for the first couple games while we were really trying to get in the groove of everything, we're like over communicating on everything, and I think that was really helpful for us to kind of figure out each other's playing style, because we didn't have a lot of time to warm up before, and we didn't really, we hadn't seen each other play, so we were just trying to figure out like where to go and how to build from there. And I think that it was a really good strategy for us to be able to go, and it's something I carried in to then the following day when I was playing with someone who I play with really regularly.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes probably a fault of mine is when I play with people that I've played with more regularly, the communication stops because of familiarity, and it really should continue,
Yeah, for sure. I think that totally makes sense. So in terms of like what you have in your bag for this, I just want to know, because you always have stocked up on rock stars for sure, but what do you think is like your craziest thing that you keep with you?
Well, just for the record, I only drink one Rockstar Recovery a day, and it's the orangeade flavor. And they can send it to Post Office Box 732, Clarkdale, Georgia 30111.
I was about to say, make sure you drop it
because they're getting harder and harder to find. So I don't have rock stars with me, but things that you need to take with you. You need to have a backup paddle. You need to have a towel. You need to prep your snacks for the day. You need to make sure you have plenty of hydration. Don't count on other people to have all that stuff for you.
Okay, but I'm asking what you have in your bag, because your bag's a little chaotic. So I'm asking what do you feel like is the most chaotic thing that you are keeping in your bag?
Well, so I have forgone the pickleball bag anymore. I now have the $10 Adidas duffel from TJ Maxx that I just throw all my stuff in there so I can have everything. But when I'm going to carry, I'm going to have backup grips in mine for that. I'm going to have Voltaren, so when my knees start hurting, I can put some Voltaren. But
you're aging yourself.
But that's long-term care. So, and I'm also going to have some. I don't use the icy hot. I use the other one, the green stuff. I can't even think what it's called right now. I'm drawing a blank on the
Tiger Bomber? No, that's not
No,
it.
it's the one I really like. It's the green and white. Anyway,
Well, clearly you don't like it that much if you can't remember the name.
yeah. But that I'm gonna have my snacks in there. I'm gonna make sure what else are you gonna find in my bag? I'm gonna have a pickleball because that's the other thing. I mean, that's a big thing to take. Take a ball with you. You can't count on the tournament and have a ball out there for you to warm up with or whatever. So you may want to find. So I'm gonna have a pickleball, and that's gonna be the same pickleball as I'm gonna have looked up what ball the tournament's playing with, and I'm gonna carry that pickleball with me. If you're playing with the Southern Pickleball tournament, it's gonna be a diadem, but so I'm always gonna carry that ball with me, so I have a ball to warm up with. I'm also going to have some drugs with me. You know, I'm going to have so
Clip it.
gonna have you know my tramadol there or whatever. So if my knee starts bothering, I'm just getting old. I'm going to be hurting. So at some point,
That's totally fair. Well, on that, my crazy thing that I keep in my bag, because I have seen some people go down with the cramps, I actually keep mustard packets in my bag now. It's been kind of a weird thing, but for some reason I feel like that there have been people that have actually literally come up to me and known that I've had that, and they've just been like, hey, can I grab a mustard packet from
well, the
you?
funny thing, so I mean, you got a history of that, so you know that's why I deal with bad cramps all the time. So you probably need to carry it. That's probably part of it. You've inherited that, I'm sure.
Yeah, so he's notorious for kicking people underneath the table at post-match meals and stuff like that.
I mean, it seems like right now about every third tournament I end up having to go get the IV or, you know, either at the ER or hopefully I can plan better enough so I can just go to the local IV hydration. But, so yeah, I mean, the mustard packets, I mean, the other thing, do you ever carry the pickle juice with you?
I don't, but I have seen those as pretty popular. We're like, funny enough that we're pickleball and everyone's walking around carrying these shots of pickle juice, but yeah.
I was reading a thing though that said that both the mustard and the pickle juice, and realize this is no medical advice on this show, so this could be completely.
We are not licensed professionals.
Yeah, this could be completely false, and I'm sure you can write in the comments, or some of these people that ask us about being on the show can come on and tell us the real thing. But the pickle juice and the mustard, it's not that it like all of a sudden gives you so many electrolytes to make you stop cramping or whatever. But it's that tart taste of the pickle juice or the mustard or whatever that shocks the central nervous system that makes you stop cramping. It's not.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's what I learned. And so they said, you want to do that. That stops you from cramping because of the way it works in the nervous system, and then you need to be
like still actually hydrating.
Hydrating a long time, but don't think that the mustard's just gonna. You're going to suck down 13 mustard packets and be okay.
And all of a sudden you're fixed. Cured there. Your sodium intake just
I've
went
tried
through
that
the roof.
and it didn't work.
Still ended up at the hydration place. We live to play with Diadem. Thank you to Diadem Sports for being a proud sponsor of Southern Pickleball TV and the official ball of Southern Pickleball. Head to diademsports.com and use the code Southern10 at checkout for a discount on your next order from Diadem. So, like we've been talking about, I mean, like a lot of this is like leading up for like PPA. I think a lot of people also do a little bit of film study for some of those people that are like higher IQs, but then also when you're on court at tournaments like this where you have pros playing next to you, I feel like it can be a common trope of you kind of watching some of those pro players. What do you feel like that amateur players should actually be watching when you're looking for the pros and when you're seeing kind of like what they're doing? What should you be looking for as a player?
So make sure I understand the question. So you're asking, like, if I'm watching a pro match, what should I be learning from that when I'm...
Yeah, or even if you should. I mean, because I also think that that's another thing, too. I mean, to your point earlier, right? You're not all of a sudden going to turn into Ben Johns by watching 3 points before you go and step on your next thing, but...
I think if you're at the Atlanta Open, just go enjoy the pros and watch it. I mean, the fact is it's two totally different games, you know?
That is true.
So, I mean, it's just really what they're playing
New
at
rule
the pro
books and
level.
everything, right?
Yeah, the new rule book. But I think, we tend to watch a pro game and we see how much they're dinking or whatever, and we think, hey, that's how pickleball is supposed to be played, dink, dink, dink. And you even got the pickleball purist out there, no offense to you pickleball purists that think, hey, if you're speeding up or whatever, but the game's changed. It's all about controlled aggression now. So if you get balls that you can attack, I mean, I just think you you have to attack, start those firefights if you got good hands. And if you watch the only reason the pros aren't speeding those balls up are because the hands and the counterattack of their opponents are so good that the speed up doesn't work. So if you wait for the same ball that they're waiting to speed up and you're, 3-0 to 4-0 match, you're never going to speed up. I mean, so it's just, I think it's very different. I think there is a huge mental side, though, MaryEmily, with it. When you go in, you just got to go in, confident, feeling like, I always remember what Leah Jansen said on a podcast way back, and we've talked about it before, that she said when she finally started getting good and winning matches, when she knew she belonged there. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you got to know you belong there, out there, and then if a run doesn't go your way or whatever, just don't panic and change your game. They have yet to make a 3-point shot in pickleball. So, I mean, I know that's a fault of mine a lot of times. If I get down a little bit, I start trying to do something spectacular or win points quick to get back in it. You just got to grind it out, play your game, don't get down, keep with your same strategy. Other tips I would say is, and I heard Anna Bright say this the other day, is like, you should never lose a match and have a timeout left. I was like,
that's fair.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you lost a match and you have a timeout, why didn't you stop and talk to your partner about what's going on and what could we do differently? And I was like,
or even just break the momentum. I mean, because sometimes that's even just like what it is. It's like you just get yourself in a rut, like give yourself a second to reset.
Yeah, and saving that last timeout for when your other team is at game point.
Well, it's not really doing much for you at that point.
It's a little bit late at that point, And the other thing, I mean, and sometimes it works, but if you call that timeout at match point, that means that you're returning. Right? So what happens if you miss a return to serve? You lost the point. If they miss the serve, it's just side out or a second serving. So I don't know when you do that if you're more icing yourself than you are the other team. But so I would say, go with the Anna Bright thing. Don't lose a match and have a timeout, but also use that timeout early enough that you still have time to benefit from the timeout, rather than just saving it for the last minute.
No, that totally makes sense. Yeah, some good strategy thought there as well. I do think that there's a lot that comes with a tournament, to your point, that it just really can be a mental game. And I think that that's like the biggest thing, just trying to figure out how to keep the intensity and, the competitive nature of the tournament, but then also realizing that, it's still pickleball and like still have a good time and like get out of your head a little bit and like not let like kind of like some of that stress and that heightened get to you while playing, so that way you can actually play free enough and you're not, over analyzing everything, and also so you're someone that people want to be on the courts with. You're
actually like encouraging everybody just to go out and have fun and treat pickleball like an amateur fun recreational sport.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. Wild.
Yeah. It's not like my duper depends on it.
Well, depends on who you talk to. Well, whether you're playing in PPA Atlanta, watching the pros, or getting ready for your next Southern Pickleball tournament, we hope that all the preparation gives you confidence to step onto the courts. And we hope that you end up joining us at one of our tournaments that's coming up soon. We have a lot of events that are coming around in the Southeast and beyond. So wherever you are joining us on the courts, we hope to see you. And if you don't end up joining on those courts, we hope to see you back on the podcast soon. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.